The 2000s saw some of the biggest changes in gaming, with the industry being fully into the 3D world by the time the new millennium rolled around. Carrot Top burst onto the comedy scene in the early 1990s, taking the concept of prop comedy to stratospheric new heights. Games continued to get larger and better looking as time went on, with the decade serving as a middle ground from the 2D era of the 80s and 90s, and the modern style of gaming we see today. Here are the best games by year throughout the 2000s. The Legend of Zelda. Majora's Mask, 2000. Following the release and success of Ocarina of Time in 1998, the team was tasked with developing a brand new adventure in just 1 year. The result was Majora's Mask, which, while the game asset flips a lot of Ocarina of Time, is one of the most interesting and unique games in the series. According to his official bio, the crimson-haired comic-born Scott Thompson made a big impression when he made his first appearance on The Tonight Show in 1992, and has remained a major draw with audiences ever since. After years of touring the world, Carrot Top settled into his own Las Vegas residency, becoming one of the Strip's most successful performers. It is a game that you will either love or hate, and it still confuses me today, but it is a fantastic game that is worth trying. Honorable mentions include Counter-Strike, Deus Ex, Diablo 2, Jet Set Radio, The Sims, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Grand Theft Auto 3, 2001. The PS2 finally allowed Rockstar Games to bring the GTA series into the 3D age with GTA 3, which set the stage for all of the future titles. Over the decades, his act has become increasingly elaborate. When I started touring at the beginning of my career, I had 2 trunks and a strobe light, Carrot Top explained. Seeing the series come to 3D was incredible at the time, and there was nothing really like it. Things got pretty crazy pretty fast, and before I knew it, I had a team touring the country in an 18-wheeler with 35 trunks full of props. That, he said in a 1995 interview with the Los Angeles Times, is the result of a philosophy that envisioned comedy as a spectacle. When I was younger, I always thought, if I were ever a comedian, I'd make it like a rock concert. I wanted to generate that type of enthusiasm and excitement. So, what has this comedian been up to lately? Let's find out whatever happened to Carrot Top. His film career fizzled after his first movie. A 1995 Los Angeles Times profile noted that Carrot Top was preparing to star in his first movie, with hopes to parlay his popularity into a fruitful film career. The resulting film, 1998's Chairman of the Board, proved to be a critical and commercial failure that scored a woeful 13% on Rotten Tomatoes with box office returns of just $181,233. As bad as the box office was, the reviews were worse. For example, a critic writing for the Los Angeles Times described Chairman of the Board as a shambles, adding, "If Carrot Top is indeed destined for celluloid stardom, look for a lot of film critics and movie projectionist jobs to open up in the coming years." Mystery Science Theater 3000's Michael J. There were games like it, such as Driver, but nothing came close to what GTA 3 was able to achieve. Honorable mentions include Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy X, Halo, Combat Evolved, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Silent Hill 2, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Resident Evil Remake, 2002. Nintendo has always been known for their more family-friendly consoles and games, but that changed with the GameCube as they put a focus on more adult titles, one of those being the Resident Evil remake. Nelson, writing for Cracked, included Chairman of the Board on his list of the 5 worst comedies of all time. Even Carrot Top himself couldn't muster up much enthusiasm for his own big-screen debut. "It's a cute little movie," he told the AV. The power of the next-gen hardware allowed Capcom to make the game they always wanted to but weren't able to in 1996. Club in 1997. "I'm sure it's no Academy Award-winning movie. It's not even a Jim Carrey movie. I think it's basically just a movie." Carrot Top has learned to ignore the haters. Carrot Top's popularity was something of a double-edged sword in his early days of success. While his fan base grew, so too did his detractors, particularly among fellow comedians. Even today, the original version of the remake still holds up well thanks to its beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds that are among the best ever created in a video game. Honorable mentions include The Elder Scrolls III, Morrowind, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, and Metroid Prime. Star Wars. Knights of the Old Republic, 2003. 2003's Knights of the Old Republic gave us the Star Wars game that we'd always dreamt of having, an RPG game in the universe that sees the player become a Jedi and wield a lightsaber. As his 1995 Los Angeles Times profile pointed out, comics such as the late Bill Hicks and Saturday Night Live alum Dennis Miller mocked him, while Dom Herrera said, "I don't consider him a stand-up." The series has become one of the most beloved in gaming, with a remake currently in the works, and the mechanics were carried over to future series such as Mass Effect and Dragon Age. "I consider him a clown." 2 decades later, in an interview with Esquire, Carrot Top admitted he used to be stung by comments like that, but over time he's learned to slough them off. Honorable mentions include Beyond Good and Evil, and Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas 2004. San Andreas is often regarded as the best in the GTA series, with it being the final game in the PS2-era trilogy. Over the course of the PS2's lifecycle, the series went from strength to strength, concluding with San Andreas in 2004. "I can be out in a restaurant and I can see people talking *T, nasty, and it really used to bother me." Even today, the game remains one of the most popular in the series and is still remembered fondly by fans. "Now I kind of soak it in. I've learned that a lot of times I think they're saying horrible things and they're not," he explained. Carrot Top also reminds himself of the comedians who have professed to enjoy his act. "When people make fun of me, I used to always say, 'You know what, George Carlin F. King liked me.'" Honorable mentions include Half-Life 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, and World of Warcraft. Resident Evil 4, 2005. The influence that Resident Evil 4 has had on the gaming industry can't be understated. Released in 2005, Resident Evil 4 popularized many mechanics that would become standard in action games ever since, including quick-time events and over-the-shoulder gameplay. While not a traditional Resident Evil game, it is an incredible action game that's legacy is still felt today. Honorable mentions include God of War, Guitar Hero, and Shadow of the Colossus. The Elder Scrolls 4. Oblivion, 2006. The Elder Scrolls series is one of the most popular open-world RPG series, with Oblivion being an early title on the Xbox 360 and PS3. "And Jay Leno likes me. And Bill Maher likes me," he said. "I always had that in the back of my head." The comic got totally jacked, but denied claims of steroid use during the early part of the 2000s. Carrot Top became interested in bodybuilding. He pursued his hobby with gusto, eventually looking more like a red-headed Mr. Universe contestant than the prop comic of old. Given his massive musculature, there were whispers of steroid use. Oblivion is often regarded as the best in the series, with many fans still going back to it today. Confronted with the rumors during a 2014 interview with Penn and Teller's Penn Jillette, Carrot Top insisted he was steroid-free. Honorable mentions include Gears of War, Hitman, Blood Money, and Wii Sports. Halo 3, 2007. Many gamers have fond memories of the Xbox 360 and PS3 era in the mid-2000s, with Halo 3 being one of the key titles that FPS fans were playing during this time. Halo 3's campaign is arguably the best in the series, and its multiplayer is even better and is the pinnacle of the Halo franchise. It would also serve as one of the final games in the series to be created by Bungie before it was taken over by 343 Industries. "I just worked out like a crazy man," he told Gillette of how he managed to become so big. Honorable mentions include BioShock, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Mass Effect, Portal, and Super Mario Galaxy. Grand Theft Auto 4, 2008. GTA 4 was released in 2008 as the first game in the series for the 7th generation of consoles. The graphical and gameplay difference between the previous entry, San Andreas, and GTA 4 is very noticeable, with the game going on to become the 3rd highest-ranking game on Metacritic. "I also did all the supplements, all the creatines, glutamines, all that stuff," the comedian added. "I did everything but steroids." Honorable mentions include Fallout 3, Gears of War 2, Left 4 Dead, Metal Gear Solid 4, Persona 4, and Street Fighter 4. Batman. Arkham Asylum, 2009. With only a few exceptions, when video games and superheroes come together the results usually aren't that fantastic. "I did stuff that you could buy at GNC, but I ate tons of it." As Carrot Top told Esquire in 2015, "I wasn't as big as people made me out to be. but I was bigger than they wanted me to be, or expected me to be. That's 35 years of working out. This all changed with the Batman Arkham series, which began with Arkham Asylum, which showed what could be done with a superhero license if the right developers were at the helm. Maybe 5 years ago, I decided I'd worked out enough. Arkham Asylum is one of the best gaming experiences on the PS3 and Xbox 360, with very solid fighting and gameplay mechanics, as well as a very engaging story featuring the Joker. This is one of the most fun experiences you can have with the systems, only topped by its sequel in 2011, Arkham City. Whether you like superheroes or not, this is a must-play series. Honorable mentions include Assassin's Creed 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Uncharted 2, among thieves. I quit cold turkey. Didn't go to the gym for maybe a year. Then I started running. That's where I am now. I just kind of wanted a normal build. Carrot Top's picked up some celebrity fans while Carrot Top may have been dissed by some of his fellow comedians. That isn't true of all of them. Case in point. Back in 2017, he shared a photo of himself on Instagram posing with Amy Schumer, who had been in the audience for one of his Vegas shows. Meanwhile, E! reported that the likes of fellow Vegas star Shania Twain, legendary comedian Jerry Lewis, and members of the country group Rascal Flatts had all caught his act. In fact, an iconic Oscar winner is also a fan, according to an anecdote Carrot Top shared with VSiN. I was in Aspen years ago. I was walking along after working out at gym. It was about 9 in the morning. It was misty. And there's a guy walking across the street toward me and I think, God, that's Jack Nicholson. Then I realized it is Jack Nicholson, recalled the comedian, admitting he was so star-struck that he ultimately decided not to say anything. It was Nicholson, in fact, who apparently approached him, calling out, "Top. I've always wanted to meet you." As Carrot Top related, Nicholson was as down-to-earth and as nice as he could be. He's denied accusations of plastic surgery over the years. Carrot Top's fans have noticed that his appearance has changed, and not just his buff bod. When rumors swirled of cosmetic surgery, however, Carrot Top consistently batted them away. The hearsay, he said in a 2013 interview with Oprah. Where are they now? Via HuffPost, began when he appeared on a Comedy Central roast. And one of the comics says, Jesus, Carrot Top, when are you gonna stop with all the plastic surgery? You look like the guy from The Mask or something. He went on to recall his reaction. I'm sorry that I look good. I don't think I look anything different than I did when I started, in comedy. While discussing the plastic surgery rumors with Florida Today in 2015, Carrot Top conceded that, for a while I had gotten really big. I didn't do steroids or anything, I just worked out a lot, and I never had any plastic surgery. He added, I can see why people would think that since I got really big for a while, but I never had any work done. I mean, if I was going to have plastic surgery, I would look better than this. Why Carrot Top believes he's the Nickelback of comedy. It's hardly a secret that Carrot Top is a polarizing figure in the comedy community, and the decades of criticism is something he's struggled to understand. If I was doing something that was close to other comics, or was going to make them uncomfortable, or I'm doing their act or doing their jokes, then I could see them wanting to criticize, he told the Tampa Bay Times in 2015. But if you're doing something in a completely different realm, I would think most people would welcome it with open arms, like, wow, this is something different and innovative and creative, a different way of doing comedy. Given that his Vegas show has been running successfully since 2005, he compared himself to Canadian rockers Nickelback, another act that gets constantly slagged despite being massively popular. You go to a Nickelback concert, and it's packed, and they're killing it, and you get done, and you're like, how could people make fun of Nickelback? It's an awesome show, Carrot Top said. A lot of it has to do with animosity and whatnot, which is always understandable in this business. Other film and TV roles included meeting his end in a Sharknado sequel. While Carrot Top's film career may have begun and ended with chairman of the board, he still managed to make occasional guest appearances in film and television. Among these was a brief cameo in Sharknado 4. The Fourth Awakens, playing an Uber driver who drops off shark-fighting protagonist Finn, Ian Ziering, at his Vegas hotel. Carrot Top appears a bit later in the movie when he's swallowed by a shark, something that he insisted be added to the script. I showed up on the set, and I played an Uber driver. They said, that's a wrap on Carrot Top, and I'm like, wait a minute. Am I not getting eaten? And director Anthony Ferranti is like, do you want to get eaten? And I'm like, the whole reason anyone would want to be on Sharknado is to get eaten. Carrot Top told Click Orlando. So he's like, alright. Set up Carrot Top Shark Attack. A guy comes out with a ladder, and he climbs the ladder with a camera. He goes, action. And I just tumble around on the hood of a car. And he goes, alright. There you go. You got eaten. Carrot Top became a Las Vegas legend. Carrot Top began his residency at the Luxor in Las Vegas back in 2005. Since then, he's gone on to perform more than 200 shows a year. But as he told Click Orlando in 2020, he was initially reluctant about the Sin City. When I first got the offer to do it, I turned it down. I was like, I don't want to be in Vegas. That's where old guys go to die, the comedian explained. Then I took the gig, and I've slowly turned into, I can't imagine not doing this here. Speaking with Las Vegas Magazine after signing a deal that would keep him at the Luxor until 2025, Carrot Top admitted, I definitely didn't imagine I'd have this kind of staying power. Vegas crowds are a different kind of audience from what I was used to on the road, where people would come specifically to see me. He added, starting in Vegas, I was the sideshow in a sense. If you couldn't get into Cirque du Soleil, maybe you'd go see Carrot Top. And then I slowly became more comfortable with how to work a Vegas audience, which is people from all over the country and all over the world, really. It's taken years to get it down. His house in Vegas shares a surprising connection to Celine Dion. As a resident of Las Vegas, Carrot Top owns a home there, and it shares a connection with another performer who's long been associated with Sin City, Celine Dion. According to a 2015 profile in Esquire, Carrot Top's house was constructed by the same builder who built Celine Dion's palatial desert estate, with the outlet adding that, in fact, materials left over from the larger job, including pilfered floor tile and the kitchen's rustic beams, made it into the comedian's home. According to Celebrity Detective, Carrot Top reportedly purchased the place back in 2006, paying a hefty $1.9 million. The home apparently boasts more than 4,300 square feet of living space in which he can putter around, including a spacious swimming pool, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and more. Interestingly enough, when the French-Canadian Chanteuse temporarily ended her Las Vegas residency in August 2014, she became the punchline for a Carrot Top zinger on social media. Well, I guess Celine Dion is now Celine Diop, he tweeted. Prop comedy has made Carrot Top shockingly wealthy. While estimates of Carrot Top's wealth have varied, List 25 pegged his net worth at $75 million, while Celebrity Net Worth offered an estimate of $70 million. There's no denying that Carrot Top has made a lot of money since he first took to the stage of the Luxor in 2005. In fact, hunkering down in Vegas is the primary reason why Carrot Top is so rich. According to a 2012 piece in The New York Times that compared the salaries of different comedians, comics on the lower rungs of the comedy ladder can spend a year or more building up an act that could eventually earn them a Comedy Central special, for which they're paid $15,000. For Carrot Top, performing 6 nights a week at the Luxor has proven to be a far more lucrative proposition. In 2020, the Luxor announced that it had renewed Carrot Top's deal and extended his run for 5 more years. While the amount he was being paid wasn't made public, it's easy to assume that by the time 2025 rolls around, Carrot Top's net worth will be even higher. One of his comedy props was ripped off and sold as an actual product. Carrot Top spends a lot of time coming up with his wacky stage props, which often serve as visual punchlines when he performs on stage. One of these props, however, actually found life outside his act. One idea that someone stole and actually took the idea from me, he claimed in a 2020 interview with the Chicago Tribune. This purloined prop came from a routine about toilet paper, with Carrot Top noting how some people's preferences vary between the tissue rolling under or over. He added, I know they saw it. I did it on TV 1,000 times. Someone saw it and made it into an actual product. Carrot Top went on to explain, so I made this thing on the wall where when you put your toilet paper in there, it would flip. You flip it, it would go under, and if you flip it, it would go over. Everyone in the crowd would always laugh and say, that's really cool, more of an invention kind of thing. That one I was pretty proud of until someone ripped me off and is making billions of dollars off it now. The pandemic took him off stage, and changed his show when he resumed performing. Live performances came grinding to a halt throughout America in March 2020 thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. Carrot Top's Las Vegas stage show was not immune, and he found himself benched, just months after signing on for 5 more years at the Luxor. "It's been the toughest thing to deal with in my career," he admitted in an interview with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. "I've been through a lot of adversity, but I've been able to work. I need to get back on stage."
After nearly a year of being off stage, he resumed performing in February 2021. There were, however, some big changes in order to maintain the reopening restrictions put in place by the governor of Nevada. Instead of performing at his usual 350-seat venue, the Atrium Showroom, Carrot Top moved his act to the larger Luxor Theater, with a capacity of 1,500. Due to those social distancing restrictions, however, he would only be playing to an audience of 100. "We're giving it a shot," Carrot Top said at the time. "We've got to start somewhere. I miss doing the only thing I know how to do." How Carrot Top has spent his time in quarantine shortly after Americans were sent huddling in their homes when the COVID-19 pandemic entered the country in March 2020. Carrot Top gave fans a video tour of his home in Florida, and shared how he'd been spending his time in quarantine. "Why not do something constructive, man? Grow a beard, that's what I'm doing," he said. But quarantining alone wasn't a problem, as Carrot Top went on to joke, "I don't have any friends, so that's been the easiest part." He'd also been doing some reading, claiming he knows more about Elton John than he does, after reading the rock icon's autobiography 3 times. Meanwhile, like many others, Carrot Top also watched a little Tiger King. "I feel like Mother Teresa," he quipped to the docuseries. "You watch that, you're like, I'm a good person." Go-to entertainment aside, Carrot Top also revealed that he came up with his own signature quarantine cocktail, which is made from gin, some Sprite soda, lemon, strawberries, blueberries, and a pack of hot dogs. Okay, so he was kidding about that last ingredient. To make the Carrot Top cocktail, he explained, put all those ingredients in a blender, or, just relax and crack open a beer, as the comic himself did in the funny clip.